Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
50 million shots in just 37 days since I've become president. In 5 weeks, America's administered the most shots of any country in the world. Any country in the world, with among the highest percentage of population fully vaccinated. That's progress we promised.
Yeah, it is. And that's what people were hoping for. You've got the shots, get them in people's arms. Yesterday, you coming out and saying you're not quite sure if you can throw anything out there. Hey, Joe, right? You're the president now. And I'm not looking for perfection. I think too many people, they if he comes out and says, look, guys, we're going to get back in X, Y, and Z, right? And just pick a date, September 1st, if that leaves you leeway. And if we get back there by summer, it gives people some hope. And if you leave it on a bad, people always leave with a bad taste in their mouth. They're less and less likely to pay the kind of attention that needs to be paid. I'm not saying you don't tell the truth. You absolutely do. But you've got to, one of the things that even I think it was New York Times or Washington Post pointed out the other day, there was a couple articles about, empathy's great, but we need more than just empathy. And we talked about the fact that his bucket at times overflows with all the empathy he has. Where, you look at Donald Trump, he was a straight shooter. He lied. Get over yourself, for God. Again, show everybody here on the doll where his lies hurt you. Tell me right there. Tell me. Well, coronavirus. Yeah, he screwed up with coronavirus. You're not going to get me saying anything, but he also did good. He got the vaccine. Say what you want. He got the vaccine. Didn't get any credit for that. Even Fauci's pushed back at this administration over the fact that, well, they said the cupboard was bare. It was not bare. There's actually something to put in the cupboard, which is important. We should be putting these things in people's arms. There's no doubt about that. But you also have to have a clear plan to exit this. That's extremely important. Here, yesterday, our health secretary, Dr. Kara Chris, she said, look, here's the deal. By March, April, everybody will have the opportunity to get a shot, no matter what group you're in. And by summer, we anticipate us being back to where we are. Now, part of that is the fact that we're also one of the worst in the country and world as far as infection rates go. And I think we're number 1 or 2 when it comes to death per capita. But we've also getting to a point where we're achieving herd immunity faster because the spread was so massive that, well, it kind of went to a lot of places. Even myself, who doesn't do anything. Bit of a homebody, wear my mask where they asked me to wear a mask. And I don't go out very much. I stay home and play with my lizards, and I hit golf balls. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Golf hitting and golf is not real. It's kind of a solitary sport, so I'm not out there in groups. I managed to get it. Kids are home from school. Nobody's seeing anybody. Doesn't matter. Still, and everybody was perplexed. And I was perplexed. But it is what it is. At the end of this next, I would say 5 months will be very telling on a national scale. Some states will get there faster. Other states will struggle along, partly because they're trying to make sure that everything is equitable. And like usual, when you try to make sure everything is equitable, you try to please everybody, you please nobody. It's about getting shots in people's arms, but it's also about coming out as a leader. And that was one of the things that people were worried about with Joe is, can you be that guy? For all the things that, Trump was, for all the things Obama was, for all the things that Bush and Clinton, they were a little bit more succinct a lot of times in the things. All of them had their issues. But they were, this is what we're going to try to do. Here we go. This is it. This is where we're going. This is where we're headed. Sometimes, Obama was paralysis by analysis. Sometimes Trump we're doing this here, and not everybody else is like, well, we're not doing that. But at least we're having a clear path, and that's what people want. They want clarity. We don't want nebulous. We want clarity. We want to know. Okay. Because even if you're wrong, let's just say, hey, you know what? By August 1st, we're going to be there, and we get there September 15th-ish. As a country, we're okay with that. But an open-ended, maybe next year, that's not going to work for people. and you're seeing it more and more. People are pushing back. People are pushing back in a very interesting way. They're not listening. They're ignoring it now. They're taking more risk, as people would see it, based on the last year, than they would 6-8 months ago. And the big reason, I think all of us have had it up to here, but we've also had it up to here when I talk to people. This up to here, above your head, when you put I've had it up to here, that is, you tell me one thing, it becomes something else. You tell me another thing, it becomes something else. You tell me this, it becomes something else. You tell me that, it becomes something else. At some point, you got to feel like I can trust what you're going to say. But when it's open-ended, people, they've got worries, and I get it. I get it. I think we all do. Then on the other side, they're trying to get this massive package through, and it's huge. And we're borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and printing and printing and printing.
$2 trillion we don't have, has to be borrowed, has to be printed. It'll devalue the existing currency. The dollar will get weaker, and ultimately our country will get weaker. We borrowed $4 trillion last year. We're going to borrow another $2 to $3 trillion this year. It creates an artificial stimulus. Stock market's going crazy with all this new money. But there also is going to be a correction. The stock market eventually will discover, like they always do, the emperor has no clothes and this money was printed. I don't think this is going to end in a good way.
That's called inflation, Rand Paul right there. What's that mean? We've printed so much, our dollar doesn't go as far. The dollar's now worth 80 cents. It's not real. It's a deck of cards. It's a deck of cards that's ready to collapse. And that's, we don't want that. We don't. And we're already talking about, you heard John Kennedy yesterday, our good buddy. Man, I tell you, what did he say? He said, they already got $3 trillion behind this $1.9 trillion. That's a ton of money. Yeah, we bring money in, but we have a spending problem. And I thought the whole thought of this process was to get people who needed money, not pork. There's always going to be pork in a bill. We get that. We do. But this seems insane. And their whole thing is, you got to go big, right?
The economic toll of this pandemic continues to tear through our country as brutally as the virus itself. The greatest risk from all the major economists, from Wall Street to overseas to the major think tanks, is that we don't do enough of what is needed. It's where we do too little.
But here's my thing with too little. You can always increase. You're not going to pull back. You can always increase, but you're not going to pull back. Because I know, as everybody else knows, that you're going to be back out here in 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, asking for more money. And when I tell people this, they're like, you think that these politicians would do certain things and actually like this kind of stuff that's going on? They want people to be well and do well. Yeah, they do. But in some ways, they don't. It's about control. They like it. They like the fact that you're coming to feed at the trough of them and that in some ways you're beholden to them for a lot of people. And this stimulus is going to be different than the last one that we got last year. Because now this is going for necessities. Last year, everybody thought, well, we're going to get through this and we'll be fine in a couple months. And once, people are going to go out and spend this money. And they did. They went out and spent the money. They bought TVs. They bought housing goods. They bought all those things. And yet, it didn't get better. Now, people are behind. And they're looking around. And this money that's going to be coming to them, whenever it does, that money is going to go for necessities. Car payments. Catching up on rent and mortgages that are in the rears. Making sure they have food on the table. It's not going for those luxury goods and items that will help spur the economy on. This should be about the people. You want to deal with the other stuff, let's make that separate. But they don't like to, because when you put something like in this and say it's about the people, it's about the people, and then you find out the people, they're getting a thimble full of water, and there's buckets and buckets over here. Those are for other things. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Got a little tiger update. Man, every time I read something every single day, It's a little bit worse and a little bit worse.
Cedars-Sinai consistently is ranked as one of the top orthopedic centers in the country.
He's under the care of trauma surgeons right now, and under the best trauma surgeons that we have in Los Angeles.
Dr. Jason Snibbe is an orthopedic surgeon in Los Angeles, and while he's not treating Tiger Woods, he has treated similar injuries.
After typically around 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, he'll start working on the muscles and getting the muscles to fire up again.
This on top of his existing back ailments and 5 surgeries, the most recent in December.
Yeah. So, and I think what they're talking about, and I've talked to a couple reporters that are out there, have all said the same thing. They're worried right now about the infection because it did break the skin. So it snapped, the bone snapped. They went through his skin and out. So they're worried about infection and sepsis and things like that. It is, man, it's crazy. It is, it's, you know, you think about, like, just for a second, think about everything's fine. You may be frustrated. Yeah, life's worries and stuff, but you've, you know, you're sitting pretty much on top of the world, and the next minute, that world comes collapsing down on you. And now you've got choices to make as far as, am I ever going to play golf again? Hell, am I ever going to walk again in a real way? And that's why health is so important. It is so important. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I was watching some of the golf yesterday, and some of the guys, you could just tell they weren't into it. It's just, you could tell that, you know, there's something that's lingering over them. And I've been in games where guys have gotten hurt and something's happened, and there is a weird sense of, wow, that's just something about it. My Pillow, it's about to do something awesome for you. By the way, guys, fantastic pillow. Everybody's like, which one do I prefer? I have my Stow and Go Anywhere pillow. That's the one I usually use everywhere, and that's because I love my MyPillow, but Jack usually steals them all because that's what he does. Buy one, get one. 6-piece towel set, Giza Dream Sheets. Right? Technology's the best. Soft touch, lotiony feel, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee, washable, dryable, 7 colors to choose from. The sheets are great, and why do I love the sheets? Because the pockets are deep, and if you wash them, how many times you bought sheets? You wash them, and then you try to put them back on. Like, they don't fit anymore. These will fit. Luxurious finish. You're going to be sleeping like a dream. 10-year warranty again. 60-day money-back guarantee. Visit MyPillow.com. Learn right now, right? So this is awesome for our listeners. 6-piece towel set and Giza Dream Sheets. Buy one, get one. Promo code Benson. All right? So check that out. Buy one, get one. Promo code Benson. Call 800-874-0104. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I usually don't get into politics. As an ordinary suburban housewife, I feel a little disrespected. I teach my children not to name call.
You are a blabbermouth! Come on, man.
Guys, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum?
Chad Benson.
Those militia rocket strikes slamming into that coalition base in Erbil, Iraq last week, where U.S. soldiers and contractors were housed. The same Iranian-backed militias have launched rocket attacks against the U.S. embassy in Baghdad and the so-called green zone surrounding it.
Yeah, so Biden, first test as far as what you do with the military. So in Syria, right across the border, they launched them in there. They killed a contractor, and it was nasty. And we don't talk much about what goes on over there. I mean, Trump, I love what he was doing. He's bringing stuff home, right? And that's one of those things. You want to bring people home. He wanted to bring things down. And we talked a bit yesterday. You know, yesterday, Biden had a call with the Crown Prince over there in Saudi Arabia. And the whole Khashoggi thing, Jamal Khashoggi, you got to walk a fine line. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and then they may become my enemy again. And that's what you do. You know, it's weird. We want this bizarre world of globalism for as far as our economy can go, where we can buy cheap goods, you know, elsewhere that's produced there. We could sell our goods there. We can do this, but then we also want to be isolationist at times, and you can't have both. You can't. You're going to have to deal with people, and sometimes they're awful. They are. So he's got a lot of stuff to do, and this, you know, it's It was quick. It was quick. They talked about it. It was surgical in nature. It was meant more to be like, hey, Plus, they got negotiations coming up with Iran. And my big fear when it comes to Iran and China, how do you handle these two? I don't care about North Korea. He ain't doing anything. You know that, and I know that. They chose this, but you've got to go in and talk to them again about nuclear negotiations, what you're going to do. And I, quite frankly, I want no part of whatever they're trying to offer as some sort of half-ass concession, and we'll see how Biden does with that.
There is a lot going on with Iran right at a time when the U.S. would like to get back to the table with Iran and rejoin with some changes, with some more strict changes with Iran to that nuclear agreement that former President Trump took the United States out of. So this retaliatory strike is meant to say, look, now we're even.
Martha Raddatz here. But I will tell you, I don't think he was thrilled by the first one. I think Obama really wanted something done. Right? Like they wanted, this was one of those things at the end of your presidency where you're checking stuff off. Look what he did with Cuba. Look what he did with Iran. Look what he did with the climate Paris. We're checking boxes off. 1, 2, 3. And the Iran one wasn't good. Chuck Schumer. It's like, no, this is stupid. This is a horrible deal. I'm not going to support it. That's Chuck Schumer. He's like, we give him a month before we can go in and inspect. This was quick. This was a message. But trust but verify. But really don't trust. Because you know they're working towards a nuclear weapon. And the scary thing is when, not if, they get one, then we're going to have to outfit everybody else in the region with some sort of nuclear device to protect them from them. That's the scary thing. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Yeah, so the process was super complicated, and, my grandparents don't know how to refresh a page. My grandfather doesn't even own a cell phone. So for them to try to navigate the system where tons of people were vying for very few slots, I knew that it wasn't going to work. And I care about them so much that I needed to make sure they got vaccinated. So, and I had 4 computers open, and after my 3rd attempt on the county's website, I got them their shots, and now I've helped my group has helped over 425 people get vaccinated in the same fashion.
I like this. Benji Kagan, 14 years old, who, by the way, sounds like a 27-year-old. Hey, everybody, let me tell you guys something. I'm 12 years old, but I help people get vaccinated. This, though, is a perfect example of what so many people have been frustrated with. The first group you roll out is 75 plus, most parts of the country outside of healthcare officials. Most of them have no idea how to do this stuff. The interfaces are wonky. They're slow in reaction time. Grandma and grandpa, they're not getting it. It takes 25 minutes to find out exactly where you're supposed to sign up. It was a nightmare. This guy's like, look, we'll put the group together, do it on Facebook. We'll get everything sorted out. We'll help people out. And it's simple. This is a kid. Again, he sounds like he's 30. This kid's got it going on.
we've got tons of volunteers going at the same time. A bunch of people are always checking different websites. So yesterday I had a bunch of people that I was looking to schedule, and I was actually doing my math homework. And then I got an alert and it said, appointments open at this private clinic. And I was like, oh my God, let me get on that. And then I scheduled 10 people there. Some people are inflexible and they'll say it needs to be at this location here at this time. And that makes it incredibly hard for me. Be flexible. You may need to, leave your neighborhood or drive far to get the vaccine. And that is because it's so difficult to obtain a slot.
Yeah, I was joking with my uncle when this first started. I said the thing we should do is we should have put together apps for states across the country where you give us your information and we get not only book you a time, but if you need a ride, we can do the same thing and make sure that you have like an Uber to some of these things, because that's the other part of it. A lot of the elderly, they can't get there. A lot can. I mean, we're not saying they're all, it makes it sound like everybody's, who's elderly can't navigate some. It's not, but it's just it shows you what's up with government. So much of it is reactionary, and instead of building out in many places a whole new portal and making everything seamless and easy, they just add on to what they already have, which makes it even more complex and complicated, because something that was already confusing for a lot of people became more confusing. And when you're trying to vaccinate as many as possible, this becomes frustrating. That's why some states are doing so bad. You go and look and you're like, my God, look at the way you guys are doing this. This is nuts. You're just, it's impossible. When we first started opening up here, I'm talking to people. It's like, I had to help my mom, help my grandma get on this. I'm like, why? And then they go look at it. And then I'm like, I don't even know where to go. Okay, so I go here, and then I'm over here. Then it takes me to the thing, and then I put all my information in. Right, I was practicing. You put your information in, and then you go, and it'll time you out half the time, and then you got to go over the whole thing again to put your information in. Well, if you've only got like 500 spots here, 1,000 spots there, 25, like they'll open up. Oh, there's going to be 27,000 spots open up for the next 6 days at this facility. And it's like old days. Or, when they used to have this thing called a concert, where you go and you get a ticket, or a wristband now, and you go and you enjoy it. They sell out. Like, hey, Coachella went on sale at, 8:15 and sold out by 9 o'clock for both weekends. That's what this is like. And if you're not quick, that's why I've said we should just give the shot out. Give the shot out. Go from there. Give the shot out. And how about this? Why don't you go to the elderly? Oh, God, that's novel. Yeah, why don't you just go to them to make it easier? Wouldn't it? Just work with doctors in the area. Doctors, people over 65 or people that you think should get this, send us a list of people you're working with, and then we'll just go to them and we'll take this out of everybody else's hands. Oh, Chad, stop it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I don't even know what to do with this, but I just know that it's bizarre. So yesterday it starts tweeting. A childhood toy that many of us, this is our, my age range, as well as producer Phil's. And then Anthony just found out that there's a plastic potato in the Mr. Potato, because Anthony is not much older than us, but apparently in his day, you had to supply your own potato. That's what it was like, kids. I want to tell you guys, right? That's what it was like for us. Etch-a-Sketch was our tablet. The Viewfinder was our VR, and you had to supply your own potato for Mr. Potato Head.
What's new, Hasbro? Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head with their own cars and trailers. That's what's new. See, Mr. Potato Head has a car and boat trailer. And there's a car and shopping trailer for his wife, Mrs. Potato Head. It's such fun to do and so easy. Take any fruit or vegetable. Just stick in eyes, then ears, and then the mouth. You can make the funniest looking people in the whole world. Potato Head people look different every time you make them. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head with cars and trailers come in $1 and $2 sizes.
They got Baby Potato Head, which is gender neutral. We all know that. The potatoes are not raising the baby as any sex. Not even raising it as a potato. If it wants to identify as an apple, it can. So the whole thought process, and it was really weird. So the way this happened yesterday, Hasbro said, hey, we're rebranding. We took Mr. off the logo and an overall, the brand. So people we're going gender neutral. And then they came out and they, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head are still available. We're just kind of, updating it. Then some people are like, no, it's here to promote gender equality and inclusion. So people got excited about it. Right. So first the initial statement comes out. And we're talking about toys, for the love of God. We're talking about freaking toys. We're talking about a potato head. And this is that part where the battle needs to go when it comes to where we're headed as a society, which is sanity, common sense, not insanity, and attack everything you can to try to take away whatever it is that is evil and non-inclusive. So they taken away the Mr. in Potato Head, right? Says you can create your own Potato Head family. Okay, great. So that's fine. And you're starting to look, and they come out with all this stuff about like what you're going to do now, right? Launching the first Create Your Own Potato Head celebrations of many faces of families, allowing kids to imagine and create their own potato head family with 2 large potato bodies and 1 small potato body. 42 accessories, possibilities to create your own families, and endless with mixing and mashing. See what they did there? And people got excited. Then they came out and said, hold that taut. This is what they tweeted. Your main spud, Mr. Potato Head, isn't going anywhere. The company continued by saying, while it was announced today that the Potato Head brand and logo, the brand of Mr. Potato is going away, it's going to be the Potato Head logo now instead of Mr. And it says, I am proud to confirm that Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head aren't going anywhere and will remain Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. Of course they aren't. First of all, it's a potato, right? It has... Producer Phil, did you ever have a potato, like a plastic one, not the one where, Anthony goes out and has to dig in the yard and get a potato? But did you ever have a Mr. Potato Head?
No, I never did, but I had friends that did.
And you've seen them, right? Yeah.
They
have no genitalia, by the way, just to let you guys know. There is no genitalia. My God, that potato's got some big hooters. There is none of that. It's a potato. It's a plastic toy. Oh, good God. And this became something. People are arguing about it yesterday. Oh. Rick Ferrero, the chief communicator for GLAAD and the LGBT advocacy organization, applauded the change, saying it was part of a larger movement towards greater diversity, inclusion in toys media aimed at kids. It's a GD potato. That's all you need to know. It is nothing else. It's all it is. It's a potato. Do I think that they're trying to get things in here and, they want to diverse it up to the point where it's all about inclusion, all kinds of stuff, and you're looking at some of this stuff going, this is just insane. This is. And this is the sad thing. This is the fine line that companies have to walk now, where you have to try to appease everybody. And in doing so, in many, 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 many occasions, you piss off a much larger base and you've got nowhere to go. Let's make it gender neutral. It's a GD potato. That's all it is. I think the new Mr. Potato Head should be, you want to stop all this? You got to farm it. We're going to send you all of the stuff, and you can dream about what you can do with your potato. But before that, you've got to plant it. You got to till. You got to do the whole thing. Kids are like, this is stupid. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you, man. We've got the weirdest underwear ever. And this ad for the weird underwear, I had no idea that I couldn't do so many things. But now, because of this new underwear, I am going to be able to do all kinds. So all of you will be. Every one of you listening right now is going to be able to do things you never dreamed of. Ever. You're going to be like, oh, my God, I didn't even know I could. I could do that now? Yeah, you could. You couldn't before, but you can now. Rough Greens, My dog Doodle loves it, and that makes me smile. His life is so much better. And the reason is pretty simple. He's happier. Nasty fatty tumors and arthritis in his hips. His joints were a mess. We tried everything. We were at the point after all of his, he was biting and nipping anytime you touched him. You could feel his tumors. They were like, I don't know, they weren't going to kill him, but they made his life miserable. We tried everything. So we tried Rough Greens, and they said, try this. And it's been over a year now. We just sprinkle it on top. It's a supplement. You sprinkle it on top, and it gives all of the things that the dog's food is missing. It's vitamins, minerals, enzymes, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. It brings it all to life. And wow, what a difference. Within a few weeks, we saw a difference. Within a few months, and here we are a year into it now. He's like a puppy. His joints, so much better. Better mobility. He's happier. He's bouncier. Immune function is better, and just better across the board. Now, Rough Greens wants you to try it before you buy it. That's as simple as it gets. Try it before you buy it. You pay shipping. They get it out to you. If you don't like it, you're like, okay. But I have a feeling you're not only going to like it, the dogs are going to love it. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. It's RUFFgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. Try it before you buy it. Rough Greens. It is Rough Greens Canine VitaSmart. They're going to love it. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
The video is from a neighbor's house in Los Angeles, posted on TMZ. A security camera catches Lady Gaga's assistant Ryan Fisher walking the 3 French bulldogs. When a white car pulls up, 2 people get out to try to take the dogs, one with a gun. There's a struggle, and then the thieves take off with the 2 dogs, leaving Fisher on the ground, bleeding.
Help me! We're calling 911 for you. I'm bleeding out my lungs.
Fisher was taken to the hospital. He's reportedly doing well. There's a $500,000 reward for the return of the dogs.
Now, why am I laughing? I'm going to tell you why. All day yesterday, all that was trending was Koji and Gustav, that's the name of the dogs, and all this stuff. People talking about Lady Gaga, is she okay? And all this stuff. Once was there a mention. A dude got shot trying to hold the dogs and save them. Nothing. They stepped over his body. He's like, no. He's like, help me, please, God. Help me. They took the French bulldogs. No. And I'm just like, so I tweeted that. I said, isn't that kind of funny that, and people started tweeting at me, mad at me because I would dare. They're like, well, he's going to be fine. Nobody knows where the dogs are. Like, okay. That makes it better. He got shot. What would you do in that situation? Here, have him. I don't care. They're not mine. I like walking them anyways. Piece of crap dog. Get a real bulldog. If you're going to get one, get a British one, not a French one. It's not very nice, Chad. Honestly. Like now, I love my dogs, right? I'll do. Somebody said, I'm going to take your dogs. I'm like, okay. You probably get them back. Nobody wants my dogs. Nobody does. My lizards, maybe Winston and I would put up a fight for sure, but like the other lizards, I'm like, it ain't worth it. And I'm sure they're not fighting for somebody else's lizards. Don't take the dogs. I don't want anybody to take the dogs. Then you got to ask the question too, right? Because we live in an area and a day and age of skepticism in some of these things. At least I do. I'm an open-minded skeptic. And my thought process of this is, was this an inside job? Right? Because she said $500,000 reward, no questions asked. Does that ever work? Like if I showed up today with those 2 dogs, don't you think if she Venmos me $500K or writes me a check or gives me cash, you don't think that they're going to? Of course they are. That never works, ever. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I wanted to get to the underwear thing because it's just, it is so amazing, this new underwear that you can, and we'll do a little deeper dive. But I just want to give you guys just a sense of how cool these underwear are.
Underwear stinks. Traveling with it stinks. Having to pack one pair of underwear for every day you travel and putting it all in the same bag makes everything stink.
By the way, just to let you know, how big are the underwear you're packing? It's a sheet. It's a parachute. I have a parachute.
What if you could travel the world with just one pair of underwear? Now you can with Hercleone. At Hercleone, we believe that traveling the world while staying fresh should be easy to do without baggage. Introducing Cribby, self-cleaning underwear.
And my whole thought, so wait, I get a guy or a gal named Cribby, and then when I'm done with them, they just go wash them and bring them back? How does this work? Oh, yeah, it is insane. But it's supposedly you're supposed to be able to just wear these all the time, just every day, and you don't ever have to worry about anything other than just wearing these. You can go anywhere with these things. Anywhere. Self-cleaning underwear. It's a special material. Won't become worn out or destroyed and will not become smelly. I don't know how they test that. Self-cleaning underwear. It's insane. Oh, my God. It's got copper in it, so you know it's going to be awesome. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Democrats have laid the groundwork to be able to pass this bill on their own without any Republican support, but that does come with limitations. And so in the Senate, you had this policy ruling saying that $15 an hour minimum wage increase cannot be included in their version of the bill.
That's huge. That's a win for the Republicans. And the reason's pretty simple. You've got a couple Democrats, the ones I told everybody about, right? Which is Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are the second and third most powerful people in Washington right now. Second and third most powerful people in D.C. Well, how they're just senators. Everybody has to deal with them. I said, even with all that took place in the last election and the losing of those two seats, the Senate seats in Georgia, I said, you watch. Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Kyrsten Sinema, Joe Manchin's obvious, he's in a red state, but he manages to keep his seat continually because he's a, people say, well, you're a moderate. No, what he is he looks at everything. He's a political like wolf at times. He could be in sheep's clothing and then you could know he's a wolf. And he does a brilliant job of walking a fine line that keeps his constituents happy. And in a very dead red state, he's a blue and he's a red. That's the way we're doing it now, right? Blue and red. On the other side, Kyrsten Sinema, when she was in the State House here, she was borderline communist at times. Now she's one of the most independent senators in the country by far, at State House level all the way up to there. And she sees things a lot different. And she's people are like, whoa. Even Republicans who are staunch Republicans. Former Governor Jan Brewer, I spoke to her the other day. I said, come on, Jan. I said, governor, because I call her the governor. I said, that Kyrsten Sinema is really holding their feet to the fire. And this is one of those things, that $15 an hour, the stimulus, the holdup. And this got to be in the bill. It's got to be in the bill. It's got to be in the bill. I don't know what this has to do with today and coronavirus, but this is what and it's one of those things where she's like, nah. And the former governor, who is dead red, said She surprises me. She's changed. Yeah. It's crazy. This stimulus is being held up by a lot of little things and then a lot of big things. People are struggling. People are looking around wondering if they're going to get kicked out of their homes, right? Wondering what exactly is going to happen. They're struggling because they're looking around saying to themselves, they got to make all these payments. It's the first of the month. So they're looking around, they got rent, mortgage, car payments, all of these things. They're still playing grab ass with one another over things they shouldn't be. Get it done. Get it done. That's it. Don't tell me about everything else. That you get this done. Let's deal with the rest later. Sometimes, you know what? You can just do, this is what's the best thing for our country at this moment in time. Let's fight about the rest in a little bit. If this is truly about the people and not about special interests, not about unions, not about certain states that are in some serious trouble because their tax base is leaving and they've been closed for so long, they've got no tax money, not about bailing some of those things out. Let's talk about that next week, next month, which is next week, obviously, and let's get something done.
The economic toll of this pandemic continues to tear through our country as brutally as the virus itself. The greatest risk from all the major economists, from Wall Street to overseas to the major think tanks, is that we don't do enough of what is needed. It's where we do too little.
It's about doing the right amount. You can increase, but you're not going to pull back. Well, what's that supposed to mean? Well, if you do enough money to cover the people that you say you want to cover, and we do that strictly for that kind of bill, and that includes all the more PPE loans, things of that nature, and to help depressed industries that have been really throttled, if you do enough to help out there, and most importantly, get the money that you need to get into people's hands. If you need to, which you're probably going to do anyways, you're going to probably ask for more anyways. But here, right now, what I see happening is you're asking for everything. You know you're not going to get everything. And then you're going to come back and ask for more. Well, you can always ask for more later. But you know what you can't do? You can't take it back. When you call people, hey, can you give me that money? Can you send it back? No, it's not going to happen. It's about doing the smart thing. And the smartest thing of all is getting us through this damn pandemic. The smartest thing of all is having a true plan to exit. I see a plan to continue to monitor, to continue to let out a little bit and then maybe pull back and to let out and to pull back. I don't see a plan of we're going to be out of this based on here, meaning 600 million, 700 million, 500 quadrillion shots that have been administered or at least are available. If you don't take it, we're not going to live our life based on you not doing something. We're not. Do you want to? Do you want to live your life based on somebody else who says, no, I don't want the shot? Fine. I don't care if you get the shot or don't. But if the government's going to tell me, well, based on the fact that you're not getting a shot, we still have to have all these bizarre, half the time non-scientific rules, that doesn't sit well with any of us.
50 million shots in just 37 days since I've become president. In 5 weeks, America's administered the most shots of any country in the world. Any country in the world. With among the highest percentage of population fully vaccinated. That's progress we promised.
Yeah. So, that's great. We got more coming. Also great. That's a huge win. More vaccines. They're looking at, some people say we need 5 vaccines. Some people say we need 3. 3 will do. It's not about the vaccines. It's about how many can you get. If you got one vaccine that works, but you can get 1 billion of them, I'm going with that one. I don't care if you have 20 vaccines, but you could only get 50 million. Well, that one's obviously not going to work. This is what we need. Getting shots in people's arms and getting them back to work. People, I'll say it over and over, and I'll do it again right now. If you ever watched Jurassic Park, the part where they're first going out there and they bring out the little goat because, there's the goat, right? And they're going to feed him. And what do they say? Tyrannosaurus, T-Rex he don't want to feed, he wants to hunt. People want to hunt. They want to work. They want to get back to work. It's not just about the money. The psychological side of being out there, producing, going somewhere, having a routine, having some stability, being part of the day-to-day world is massive. It's not just for the kids, it's for everybody. And an older generation is struggling working at home. And by older generation, because I worked at home for a long time. I did a lot of voiceovers, still do a decent amount. Not as much as I used to. But you have there's a mindset that goes with that. A younger generation wants that kind of freedom. I want to work at 1, maybe I'll work tonight at 10, maybe I'll work tonight, overnight, and then I'll take a nap tomorrow, maybe I'll do. They're okay with that. That's part of how they're growing up in a more gig economy. For a lot of other people, there's a stability that goes in. And it's also about leaving your home, participating. People, we want to get back to work. We do. We need to get back to work. And that's why I wish this president would get out there with a real exit plan as far as exiting out of all of this stuff, which is tough because government loves to take power. Rarely do they give it back. Rarely do they do. The only reason places like California and New York are doing the things that they're doing right now is because they have no choice. The people aren't listening, and both of them are in trouble. They're governors. One, because, the whole old people thing. But he won an Emmy. And the other thing is because apparently he's a sneaky kisser. Aren't we supposed to believe her? Well, she's lying. Wait a minute. So if this was a Republican, then totally it's true. Because it's him, though, it's not true. I see the way that goes. That's the way it works. That's the way the establishment side of things are. But they're pushing back on him. And Gavin Newsom obviously is in trouble. So that's why you see that. You see that's one of the big reasons they're opening up. People need to work. They want to work. T-Rex doesn't want to be fed. T-Rex wants to hunt. How much better do you feel going to work, getting out, doing things? How much better does it feel knowing that you're participating in something and it's not just on a computer? How much better do you feel waking up in the morning and feeling like, okay, I've got things to do rather than another day here? Psychological aspect is huge, not just the financial side of it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. We've been talking about like the psychological aspect for the kids in school, and I talked about my son, who's 10 this week, who had a real tough breakdown because of all of the things that were happening, and I said I don't think people are taking into account adults who school is home is now school and work and home, and that's tough. There's no escape. And part of that is escaping. That's supposed to be your castle. That's supposed to be the place where you feel like I'm going home. I feel safe. It feels good. This is where I can leave a lot of this stuff at the door. You can't. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Car Shield. Talk about it all the time. That little check engine light comes on. Drive around. We're talking all the other black tape. Somebody tweeted at me, hey, you put black tape on that. That goes out. By that, I mean that check engine light's on. You put black tape over it. Now you can't see it, so it doesn't exist. But there could still be issues. And the reason you do that is because you don't have the money for it. And by the way, your savings account, while you're excited for it, your car doesn't care. And your engine doesn't care. That's why you need Car Shield. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And that shop is the shop that you choose. They get them paid directly. Choose wherever you want to choose. Choose your favorite place down the street that you've used for years. Take it back to the dealership if you want. and they'll get you sorted out. All you have to do is pay a deductible. Number one auto protection company in the country, CarShield. Over 1 million drivers they've helped. Call today, 800-665-2157. Mention code Benson. Right there, you save 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending.
What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Watch no golf. Sorry about that stuff going on behind Ian Poulter's nice putt. Chad, I do love my golf. People are always laughing because I think that I'm like watch CNN and Fox and MSNBC all day, and I don't. There's nothing about that. I read a lot, but golf's kind of my jam. It's kind of my jam. All right, let's find out what's trending. Let's start first at Google. Lady Gaga is trending because of the thing with the dogs. Not the guy who got shot. So let's go over this again. Guy walks dogs, assistant, dog walker, the whole thing. Sure, like, oh, that's what I want to be one day. So he walks dogs, people pull up. Try to take the dogs. He fights with them. Guy pulls out a gun. He's still fighting with them. Guy shoots guy. Takes dogs. Lady Gaga and the dogs, everybody's worried about. If I asked you who, people know the dog's name, and they know whose dogs were stolen. The guy who defended said dogs, nobody could tell you. Very few. Very, very few. Mr. Potato Head. Controversy. Because, now he's just Potato Head. No, you buy a box, it says Potato Head. Which is just weird anyways. So you buy the box, and now it's just a new logo. It says Potato Head. But you could still make Mr. Potato Head. You can do anything you want. You can be more inclusive than ever before with your potatoes. Because that's the thing I've noticed that's been missing from my really, my fruits and vegetables is it's not inclusive enough. When I'm dressing them up. Oh, geez, Chad, why are you saying stuff like that? Syria, let me tell you how confusing. We bombed Syria to get back at Iran. That's all that you need to know. It's just a strategic strike. Because as we know, Iran is the largest state sponsor of terror in the world. They fired off rockets from Syria into Iraq, killing a contractor and wounding some of our soldiers. And they had been at it for a little while. So President Biden decided to take a little action and just a little something, right there. There you go. So there's that. Head on over to Twitter. See who's fighting about what that has nothing to do with anything. Oh, Bob's Big Boy. If you've not seen it, this weekend is CPAC. We'll touch on it a little bit. Trump's going to be there, but there is a giant gold statue, and it's a gold statue. So there's a gold statue of Trump. I don't think it's real gold, but it looks like a Bob's Big Boy, if you guys know what Bob's Big Boy is. But it's got a jacket on, and then it's got the shorts that look like Rocky fought when he fought Drago on. So it's got that. It's got that. So if you have a chance, just check it out. Check it out. And Old Testament is trending because, well, people, they say, are worshiping at the god and altar of Trump. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
A third COVID vaccine could be available to Americans next week, and this one has been tested against a number of variants of the coronavirus that have been worrying public health officials. Johnson & Johnson has come up with a single-shot vaccine, and today they have an all-day hearing with a panel from the FDA.
That's the one I call a game changer because it's one shot, but it can go anywhere. What do you mean, can't they all go in? Of course they can all go in there, but some of them are tough to store. So you need to do what? You need to have special stuff. Pfizer now has been given the okay to essentially refrigerate it in a normal way. A normal way being you're not going to put it in your refrigerator, but a pharmaceutical grade refrigerator, your doctor has one where it's at 0 or down to -5. Not whatever. I think that thing had to be like -60 or 93. It was something bizarre. So that's huge. But this one's the game changer because it's a one-shot deal. And it's been tested against other variants. And that's massive. If we're going to get ourselves back, we're going to need something like this because you can give it anywhere. Now, with Pfizer being able to be stored in normal facilities, that's going to open up to doctors and facilities where you're going to go see your nurse practitioner. Maybe you've got like you go to a grocery store and they've got one of those health clinics in there. They'll, just like the flu shot, you probably get it there. Those are the things that are going to be great because if you have a comfort of something, right? So you feel comfortable. A lot of people don't want to go and it's like, hey, yeah, here's your shot. You're going to get it at 2:30 in the morning. Come to this stadium. And there's going to be tents, and you get out there, and there's like, okay, there's tents, and everybody's wearing a mask, and there's some military stuff. That's uncomfortable for some people. It is. You could see why some people are like, this is it. This is it right here. See what's going on. In saying that, you go to your doctor's like, yeah, I took it. That's going to be one of your best salespeople. Why? Because your doctor knows everything about you. Your doctor's seen your bits. Your doctor knows all of the stuff that they need to know about you. You trust them. So that'll be a helper. And they wanted to have 10 million, I think, ready to roll, but they're only going to have 2 or 3 million. But it's still better than nothing. And we edge towards the point where we'll have enough for everybody. And you couple that with the fact that there has probably been somewhere in, I want to say we're closing in on probably 80 to 100 million people that have had this. Well, even though they may show that only 40 million people have had it, or 45 or 50, you've got to think at least 2 to 3 times, if not higher, have had it and now have some form of immunity. That's how you get to herd immunity. Vaccines plus exposure equals herd immunity. It's just, will government say, okay, it's time now? I think some states will. I think other states will slowly move in, give you just enough, and they're going to test. I think, when you heard Biden yesterday, and I'm going to go back and play this audio. This is from yesterday. So this doesn't seem like everybody's looking and going, all right, summer's going to be normal. Summer's going to be normal. We're heading to summer. This feels like it's going to be normal. We should all feel good about this. Then you listen to this, and that doesn't make you feel like, oh, yeah, this is going to be no problem.
Do a little bit of the math. Getting the vaccine and having it available is not the same as putting it in someone's arm. This is going to be a continuous rolling effort. We will have ordered over 600 million doses by the end of July. July 29th is the expected date. But that could change. Look what's happening with the weather now, for example. I believe we'll be approaching normalcy by the end of this year. God willing, this Christmas will be different than last. But I can't make that commitment to you.
That didn't sound like they're ready just yet to give everything back. And I know states have their rights, Florida, Texas, Arizona. We're all going to be in much different situations than a lot of other places because our governors, for good or bad, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, and that's the way that we see things now, have been much more open in the way that we've handled things. But all that being said, if you're the leader of the country, you've got to come out and you've got to start saying, we're getting back, we're coming back, and you're all going to have a chance to get it. The shot. And if you don't want that, that's fine. Calculated risk in life. Calculated risk. You take the calculated risk. But we're going to get back to living. Kids back in school, teachers back teaching, you back in your office, back in traffic, all those kind of things. But I listen to that and I'm thinking, it didn't sound like that we're going back anytime soon, according to him. Sounds like this thing could linger a little bit longer. You know, Fauci out there, yeah, well, you should wear your mask for the next 700 years. I'm going to pass on that one as well. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. This is actually in my this is my son's school district. I don't even know what to say at this point in time. I am so sick and like racism. Outside of, white supremacists and people that are, we all know it's bad. It's something that 99% of us have no part of, do not participate in, even though there are powers that be who love to make money off this, who love to grow their reputation on this. They love to think that everybody who is white is a racist, and this is crazy. So this is a school board trustee, and once again, maybe Zoom just allows people to say stuff that they maybe wouldn't say in person, but I have a feeling she was.
A La Mesa Spring Valley School Board member is facing criticism for statements she made during a board meeting Tuesday night. While discussing the need to vote on a school reopening plan, trustee Sharda Bell Fontenot made comments about white supremacy and slavery.
That's what slavery is.
That meeting was public, so a lot of families heard those comments as they were being made. Some are so outraged, they're calling on Board Vice President Sharda Bell Fontenot to step down.
Okay, so... Wait, she did. This is about what? Reopening schools. Goes back to the control side of things. What did I say? The federal side of things, you look for Biden to come out and to be forceful and saying, look, we're going to get back and this is what we're going to do. We're not going to take this anymore and you're going to have your opportunities. I still say politics is very local. And when you get people in positions of power, you can kind of find out a lot of what they're all about. And this is about school reopenings because parents across the country, much like myself, much like my son's mom, much like a lot of you out there, have had enough and feel like that the opportunity to grab some power is not only real, it's happened. And to use that power to flex the muscles, specifically teachers' unions. I'm not saying all teachers, but the unions. Absolutely. And California's got one of those unions that, man, they are the flea that wags the tail that wags the dog, and you better pay attention.
I don't even have my second dose. I've been delayed. I still haven't received it. So I'm just saying if teachers are...
We have to give the teachers, we have to give the students, the parents a date.
We don't have to give anybody any date. We don't have to do anything that we don't want to do right now. That's what you don't understand. I don't know where you're getting your information or who's telling you that we have to make a decision today, but that is not how this works. We do not. I know that you're new to the school board. I'm not saying this is a slight to you, but we do not have to make a decision today.
And that is Politics 101. We don't have to make a decision today. Why would we? We have the power. Don't want to give that up. What happens when you don't set a date for anything? Then nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. Nothing. Tell a kid you got a book report due. Okay, when? Whenever. All right. There you go. Whenever. Sounds great. We don't have to do anything. Oh, she's not done.
70 to 80% of them have answered the survey. They want to come back to school.
Who are the 70 to 80% and where are they? From which school sites? Which language group? Where? Please give it to me before I can make a decision. I can't make one, and I will not make one.
If you wish to vote no, you are more than welcome to, or you can.
I know what I'm welcome to. So how are we forcing people? That seems like a very white supremacist ideology, to force people to comply with, and conform. Just letting you know, privilege. So I don't want to be a part of forcing anybody to do anything they don't want to do. That's what slavery is. I'm not going to be a part of it.
That's what slavery is? That's what's forcing somebody? Then here's the great thing. If you don't want to make a decision, and by this I mean anybody in these positions of power, and that's what happens when you tell them and you give them a little bit of a runway, they're going to take everything they possibly can. And this is happening every single place that you can find where there's a small position of power where they're not ready to give something back. We don't have to do anything. Yeah, you do. You do your job. That's what you have to do. Well, that's a form of white supremacy. Teachers, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to tell them anything. We don't have to. No. BS. You do have to do something. People are sick and tired of it. They're over it. I was reading an article yesterday about how all the teachers are being pushed up to the front in a lot of states. New Mexico did it, and then in Mexico they held a like an inside poll, and now the teachers, 7 out of 10 of them say, "Yeah, we don't want to come back until the kids are vaccinated." They're just now testing them. That may not be for 5, 6, 7 months. This is insane. Absolutely. That's privilege? That's why it's being told what to do? My goodness me.
Well, it doesn't need to be private. None of this needs to be private. Racism doesn't need to be private, Becky.
You were shocked and appalled that I said that I thought it was offensive that you said your colleagues don't know what they're talking about?
Yeah, and then you said that you can speak for all of us. We need to stay focused. Well, if our meetings were actually recorded for the public, we would know that.
It's recorded.
There. It's recorded. Do I think she should be fired? No, I mean, that's. I don't think she should resign or any of those things. That's how you feel. That's fine. At least we know how you feel. No racism. But here's the thing. You get to decide what racism is. So you can go insult people, and if anybody says, you know what, I think you're wrong there, or I think getting the kids back at school is important, and you say we don't have to do any of those things, and then and by even coming back and interjecting my opinion about, maybe we do need to do stuff, because at the end of the day, these are the people that are call them what you want. They're our customers, and the customers are clamoring to get back, and you're telling me, we don't have to do anything we want. Spoken like politicians with very little repercussion. Why should they? And you wonder why I worry about the unraveling of the power? It's things like that, especially at a local level, that is going to be really tough for people to do. Don't be surprised a year from now. We're still wearing masks in a lot of places, and there's still a lot of government control locally. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. And by the way, how many of you right now, at this moment in time, think your kids are going to be in school within this school year, or start the school year on time? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet, home title lock. Home title. Home title lock alerts you to when something happens to your title. And then you're like, my deed, my title, what would happen to that? Well, online scammers, which are called cyber criminals, they can steal your house by stealing your title. They just go and they go, oh, look, everything's the county recorder's office. It's all public. Find out your name, your address. They fake everything. Forged signatures, right? They go and they forge the signatures, and then they go, oh, yeah, cool. We got this stamped here that says you sold this to me. Now I can do whatever I want. I even got a fake notary. You don't know about it until you start getting bills. And those bills start piling up, and then you realize, what's happened? What's happened is you're in trouble, and the legal bills are through the roof, and you could lose your home. You could lose everything. Protect your home now with Home Title Lock. Anytime something happens to your title. Whether somebody's, they're adding a sentence or they're crossing a T or dotting an I, you'll be alerted. And if somebody does happen to get by and do something while Home Title Lock is watching it, you're going to get $250,000 to help fight it in court. Protect your home now. Check and see if you've been a victim. Register your address, HometitleLock.com. Use code RADIO. 30 days free protection. HometitleLock.com. Code RADIO. Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
What is the dumbest tattoo that you've ever gotten?
So I got this tattoo. I've wanted it for a couple of years. Basically means being true to yourself and real and not pretending to be something you're not. I got this March 4th, 2020, and it says, courageously and radically refuse to wear a mask.
It's kind of funny. She's not an anti-masker. She's all over TikTok and everywhere. It means that, don't hide behind a mask. Be your real self. It's timing, kids. Timing. In life, it's timing. It's sports. It's timing. It's so much of this is timing. And that's just bad timing. That'll be cooler in the future. Right now, it's just people think, oh, you're an anti-masker. No, she's not. She's not. She's not. Travel. A lot of Americans are willing to give up sex for a year to travel. It's funny. I talk to a lot of people who aren't huge travelers, but like a lot of things, when it's not available to you, even though you may not do it, you want it. It's like a kid with a toy, right? Kid hasn't played with a toy for 2 years. Another kid comes over the house, goes, ooh, I like that toy. That other kid goes over and goes, ooh, no, that's my toy. Oh, you've taken away my opportunity to travel. I wasn't going to travel, but now I want to.
More than ever, with the pandemic, ironically, people are yearning to travel. And we've never seen such high numbers than ever before. The data tells us that people are literally vacation deprived, and the global numbers are higher than they've ever been. So that's what the data tells us. People want to travel as soon as their governments allow them or as soon as they feel safe. They're going to get out there and start traveling.
Yeah. That's what people want, because they want to know it's there. But then when you take away the travel, even though they wouldn't travel necessarily or want to really travel, now they're yearning, because they're also in a situation where they're isolated and stuck at home or in a small area, and familiars become annoying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Check out Chad Benson Show TV as well. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Little Stones on a Friday. I can't get no satisfaction. Are we satisfied? New study out. 27% of U.S. adults are satisfied with the way things are going in the U.S. Why is that important? It's doubled since January. The increase reverses the 3-month decline that saw satisfaction drop to one of the lowest levels ever. So February 2020, a year ago, satisfaction, people, humans, you, I, everybody, 45%. August 13%. Starting to rise. Got all the way up to 28% in October. November came. January was down to 11%. Now back up to 27%. So, people, why do you feel satisfied? What is it about it that makes things satisfied? With the direction of the company, the country. So, satisfaction has been at 28%. But a lot of people are saying, since the ensuing months of the election and everything else, they feel like things are moving in a right direction. But in January, you coupled with the arguing, the fighting, the high point of what was going on with the coronavirus and the January 6th riots in Capitol Hill, it crashed. It was a low point, and it was only 4 points above the all-time low, which was October 2008, which was the financial crisis. You go back a year, Trump was acquitted, the first impeachment. The economy was motoring along. Boom. But then you throw all the stuff that we went through last year. Coronavirus. You had the racial tension and unrest with George Floyd's death, and then everything else. Satisfaction fell. Are you satisfied? How about political parties? How about the political parties? Republicans, a year ago, 80% said they were satisfied with their political party. Independents, we really don't have one, 38% a year ago. Democrats, 13%. Motored pretty well, but started to come down, especially with the Republicans. By July, they were down under 25. Started a steady climb up into October. According to Gallup, got up to 60% into November, and then a huge drop. Currently, 6% are satisfied with the Republican Party. On the other side of things, last year, 13% here. For the Democrats, 45%. And the number one problem right now facing America, according to the latest poll and data, coronavirus, poor leadership in the government, race relations, economy in general, unifying the country, unemployment, job loss. You figured you'd put that with the economy, but immigration, environment, pollution, climate change, lack of respect for one another, which is massive. The media has made it on here. They're steady at 2%. But 26% of people that are surveyed say that the number one thing, the most important thing to deal with is the coronavirus. Then you got government and leadership, race relations, and the economy. If you put economy and unemployment and jobs together, it takes it up to third place overall. But that's real right there, people. That's real. It's a real thing. So how do the parties, and I find this stuff interesting, how we look at things. Changes and mentions of the most important problems from January to February, right? So January for Republicans, the government was the biggest issue and the most important problem. Coronavirus and then the economy. Now, still the government, the economy, and then the coronavirus. For independents, a month ago, it was the number one problem was the government, followed by the coronavirus and then the economy. Now it is coronavirus, the government, and the economy. And then for the Democrats, a month ago, January, 32% say the number one thing that was a problem was the coronavirus. That's now 43%. The government, 28% said it was the government. That's now 13%. And the economy has went from 1% to 5%. Just show you satisfaction. Are people satisfied? And I think there's a lot of Republicans out there that are displeased with a lot of things that have gone on. And you know, it's like things that can't be whispered, things that can't be said because you're going to get kicked out of the Republican Party. They're going to be mad and they're going to be angry. You know, people ask me, who do you align with most? Well, I do my own thing. I can't not do me. But if I look at ideals, I love what the Republicans do. But I love what the conservative values are in a lot of ways. But don't confuse what the liberal ideology, if you will, and conservative ideology are with Democrats and Republicans. Because Democrats and Republicans have what? They've got agendas. And through those agendas, they will twist, they will turn, they will spin to get their thing through to empower themselves. So it's hard to identify with parties anymore because you're identifying with people who have their own agenda. I could look at something and say, hell yeah, low taxes, strong border, common sense immigration reform. We can be more opening without being idiots. Hell yes to free speech. Enough of the political correctness. There's a difference between respecting people and trying to destroy people. I'm for freedoms and liberties. If you want to, these things are great. But somewhere along the line, they get hijacked. And that's a tough thing. It's a tough thing because you look and it's not just politics, right? So you look over and you go, okay, Black Lives Matter. Well, I could go, absolutely they do. And I can understand the behind the people that are behind this and want to see conversations and things that we can have that helps us constructively move forward as a one nation. Once it gets to the political side of things and it gets entrenched in that and it gets intertwined, it becomes something of a corporation, and the corporation cares more about the corporation than they do what the actual movement and ideology and thought process was behind that. And that goes for pretty much anything. Anything. The NRA became what? A corporation that now has got himself in trouble. More often than not, you go look at Planned Parenthood. Same kind of thing. Because it becomes political and it becomes entrenched, and you just sit there and you go, ugh. And it's hard to get behind things of that nature when you know that it feels like it's more about the people in power than it is actually about progress and solutions. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Yes, Johnson & Johnson. It's the latest. This would be the third one that would be available to us when it comes to the coronavirus. And I've always said it's the one to me that is the most important because it's been tested a bunch when it comes to variants, but also because of how you can distribute it. Doesn't need any special refrigeration, and it's one shot. And when you got a one-shot thing in this day and age of people who like convenience, I mean, we're still trying to figure out, is there any way that I can download an app to get the vaccine? People would love that. Everybody'd get it then.
A third COVID vaccine could be available to Americans next week, and this one has been tested against a number of variants of the coronavirus that have been worrying public health officials. Johnson & Johnson has come up with a single-shot vaccine, and today they have an all-day hearing with a panel from the FDA.
Yeah. So they've already approved it for emergency use. And they're going to have about 2 million. They thought they were going to have 10 million, but they promised 100 million by like June, July. So God willing, that happens. But this is another arrow in the quiver for us to fight this thing. You couple this with all of the people that have been infected by it, whether they were asymptomatic, whether they had it and they knew it, you're looking at easily some sort of herd immunity, I would say, by summertime. Doesn't mean we won't have issues. But this is where the local governments need to start realizing that, hey, how do we unwind all of this power that we have taken? And I think that's where you're going to get a lot of problems because a lot of people out there, this is a godsend in a weird way because it's made them relevant, it's made them important, and it's made them needed and wanted. It's hard to get rid of that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet, text. Love hearing from all of you. AMAC, Association Mature American Citizens. Fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. What's that mean? So you, say you're 50, right? You join this organization. Great benefits, retail, restaurant, travel discounts for everything from life insurance to car insurance and everything in between. They have all of those things. And take advantage of. By the way, the movie discounts are massive. Amusement park discounts. All of these things are great. But on the other side of things, they'll help you with stuff like maybe you need health insurance and you're not getting Medicare, so you need health insurance. They've got great people that they work with that will help you get the best. On the other side of things, maybe you're heading towards that 65 age and you're like, should I take Social Security? Should I take Medicare? Should I sign up now? How do I do this? They'll walk you through all those steps. They're there for you every step of the way to provide advice, to help you out, and they're out there fighting on your behalf for common sense immigration reform. Things like making sure our First and Second Amendments are protected. Join today. It's like $16. So easy to join. Great benefits. AMAC.us/Chad. 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 Chad Benson Show.
States? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
CPAC is this weekend. You don't know what CPAC is? That's where it's basically it's Coachella for conservatives. I think it's a good way, So they all go get together and they have their thing. And CPAC is massive. It's in Orlando because Florida's totally open. Ron DeSantis is the governor, so it's on. Ted Cruz, what do you think?
I gotta say, Orlando is awesome. It's not as nice as Cancun. I gotta.
He didn't. He did. We were just talking about it. This is what you do, right? Like this is you go to these places and you say things you wouldn't say, right? You say things you wouldn't say, and you throw stuff out there because you think it's funny and you're reacting to a crowd. And by the way, a lot of times human beings react to a crowd in a different way. They get nervous. They do these things. They're looking for a cheap laugh or a cheap joke. They'll do something they probably would never say. And, of course, people are attacking for this. And I go back to this, and I'm going to continue to go back to this. Get over it. Get over Ted Cruz. He looks like, yes, he and Adam Schiff. If you were going to go, you're like, all right, here I'm central casting. I need two guys that will ruin every single 80s and 90s movie by trying to get the good kids in trouble and the fun kids in trouble. And they're like, wow, do we have a pair for you? And then Adam Schiff, they bring out, you're like, that's the bad principal, the vice principal. And they bring this out. That's Ted Cruz, the bad teacher. But get over it. He went to Cancun. I had a lot of friends in Texas. They're like, I was just bummed I didn't go. I'd like to go. They didn't invite me. No, I took my golf clubs. I had a good time. Luckily, I'm in Florida. I didn't have to worry about it. I mean, I'm in Arizona. I didn't have to worry about it. Still, in saying all of that, it's kind of funny you addressed it. It's a little funny. It's a little fun. Well, people died. Ted wasn't going to. By the way, Ted staying in Texas forever and a day and never leaving the state would not have stopped the winter from coming. He doesn't have. He's not a wizard. What's her name from? Is it the X-Men? Is it Storm? Yeah, he's not Storm. Well, Storm's a woman. Well, Storm can be anything Storm wants to identify as. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Yesterday, kind of under the radar, Joe Biden flexed a little American muscle.
President Biden asked that this retaliatory strike be carried out. They attacked eastern Syria, which the U.S. says, the Pentagon spokesman said, they attacked infrastructure of Iranian-backed militias. They said it was a strike that was meant to de-escalate the situation in the Middle East.
So I'm going to just make it simple. The militia, Iran, Syria. Iran is the largest state sponsor of terror. They're in Syria as well as several other places. They have been firing small missiles and objects over, killing a contractor, wounding some of our soldiers. This was one of those situations where President Biden said, I'm going to flex the muscle. I'm going to make it strategic and surgical because I need to show them I need business because we have to go in and talk to them about coming back to the table and stop trying to get a nuclear weapon, which we know that won't stop them from doing it. But that's what he has to try and do. And I don't think there's too many situations where they would stop. I can't think of really any. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
15 million shots in just 37 days since I've become president. In 5 weeks, America's administered the most shots of any country in the world. Any country in the world, with among the highest percentage of population fully vaccinated. That's progress we promised.
There you go. That is progress. Now, there's an end, right? I mean, it's always going to be ongoing. Let's not pretend that, at least for a while, look, I use common sense. I know it's crazy. I look at all sides of a story. I'm interested in truth. Facts matter. And we paid a lot of attention to this long before anybody did. And if you go back and you listen to December 2019, we were talking about this thing's coming. I don't think people realize this. This thing's coming. And in January, we're like, it's coming. In February, like, don't listen, it's coming. And then it got here. And everybody's like, well, this is a pandemic. I said, no, this is going to be an endemic. I've talked to a lot of people who aren't beholden to organizations who are, able to be a little bit more free in what they say. This is going to be endemic. Well, what's that mean? It's going to be here. It's going to be like another thing. So that's like a new flu, if you will. It's the best way to describe it. Without, and it's not like the flu. I love when people say, it's not like the flu, Chad. Let me tell you about my symptoms. Am I all right? I was sore. I had a fever. Okay. Had a headache. Okay. Did you have the flu? I've had the flu. What was it? I was sore, I had a fever, and I had a headache, but it's not the same. All right. I know there's other things to it, and it affects everybody else different. That's part of genetics. That's why, all the things that we're doing with the shots and all the things that we're doing with this, one of the things that I asked Dr. Carmona, who's the former Surgeon General of the United States, right, under George Bush. I asked him. He's really good friends with Fauci. I said, Doc, all these things are coming out, but they haven't been real-world tested. And he goes, not a lot of people talks about that. And real world tested is you go and get the vaccine today. If you're living life the exact same way that you were for the last year, where you're social distancing, you're not seeing people, you're staying indoors, you're wearing a mask, that's not real world testing. Because there's a very good chance you probably didn't even get the virus. Real world testing is living. That's why Israel's thing is a shot for a shot. You go get a shot, then you go get a shot of booze. And their Pfizer test has been real world tested. 500,000 people who have gotten it. They're living their life. They've had very little spread of this thing. They're out there enjoying themselves. And it actually, the one shot has been really, really good, somewhere in the high 80s, low 90s, depending on what study that you read. But all of them do what? Not only do they stop the spread in a lot of ways, they also mitigate any damage should you get it. It's the people that I've heard talk about this say, yeah, I got it, but then I ended up getting it still. But it wasn't any different than, after getting the second shot where I felt a little, my head hurt and I had a little fever for a day and then I was fine. And that's important. And the Johnson & Johnson today is important because Johnson & Johnson is, to me, the game changer because it can be anywhere. So rural areas, smaller areas that don't have the facilities to handle the deep freeze that the other things needed. But that all changed yesterday too, which went totally under the radar with, the chaos and craziness that is just everyday lunacy, that they approved the FDA, Pfizer, for essentially regular refrigeration because they realized you don't need to store it in a special refrigerator. But that kind of went way under the radar. So here we are. We're getting there. People want to work. People want to get back to work. People do not want this continual thing that we see, which is stop-start and uncertainty. And there's tons of money that they're putting out there, and they're throwing it all out there. Rand Paul talked about it. There's one thing about Rand Paul. He's consistent in a lot of things. And, yes, he got into it yesterday in the trans debate. We may touch on that later. But this is Rand has always been a deficit hawk, and he's always been a person that's a budget guy. Too often, though, government, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, government, they all scream, the Republicans scream, we want smaller government, less spending, lower taxes, more freedom. All of that sounds great. Then they get in power, and what do? They spend as much, if not more, than the next person. Government continues to expand, and that will happen because we've expanded as a population. We're not going to have like 8 people working for us. Although I still think most of these things are part-time jobs. But we continue to spend, and the spending problem is very real. But this $1.9 trillion package, he brings up a lot of things. And one of the things that's not being talked about is cheapening the money and inflation.
$2 trillion we don't have, has to be borrowed, has to be printed. It'll devalue the existing currency. The dollar will get weaker, and ultimately our country will get weaker. We borrowed $4 trillion last year. We're going to borrow another $2 to $3 trillion this year. It creates an artificial stimulus. Stock market's going crazy with all this new money, but there also is going to be a correction. The stock market eventually will discover, like they always do, the emperor has no clothes and this money was printed. I don't think this is going to end in a good way.
And there's a possibility it may not. We talked about it, the lagging effects, like with the coronavirus. You saw the big spike. People said, at Thanksgiving or Christmas, we've had it. We've been living like this, and you gave us 2 weeks to stop the spread. Then it was, protect the hospitals. Then it was, let's just get through summer. And then it was, and people finally had enough. And then you saw a huge spike in, throughout the holidays into the first of the year, and now it's precipitously dropping as we're seeing now, and that's a lot of it because, yes, people get shots in arms, but we've exposed so many people to it, so many people have had it, that naturally it's finding less and less places for it to go. But people want to get back to work. People want to start living their lives. People want to get back out there. And what you're seeing right now is that lagging effect in the economy is coming for businesses. Just like you saw the lagging effect where people visited people between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then at the start of the year, after their exposure, they started testing positive, and you saw these huge upticks. You're seeing that now, the lagging effect in the business world. Go look at, just type in bankruptcy right now and see what's happening with business bankruptcies. Huge, 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 massive, 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 massive. bankruptcies are up tremendously. They're up nearly 20% compared to last year, which was up almost 20% compared to the year before that. 2019, 5,300 Chapter 11 filings. 2020, it's up to 7,000. And you can expect a lot more now, because now it's happening. Now people are running out of options, and all the while they're running around playing grab ass, deciding if they can get something into something. Can we get this in the bill? Can we get that in the bill? Everybody's pitching the bill. We need to do this. We need to go bigger, bigger, bigger. We're printing money. What's that do? It devalues the dollar, which makes things more expensive because your spending power decreases. So your dollar, while you say it's $1, your spending power, though, may be 85 or 90 cents because there's so much of it. Oh, well, how's that? Because as we import stuff, we're spending more to do that because their dollar against other currencies is lessened. And that means the price goes to you that gets passed along, and that's the way that thing goes. And it's never enough. They just push, push, push. We need more, more, more.
The economic toll of this pandemic continues to tear through our country as brutally as the virus itself. The greatest risk from all the major economists, from Wall Street to overseas to the major think tanks, is that we don't do enough of what is needed. It's where we do too little.
No, you don't do too little, but what you do right now is you do the things that are important. Okay? You do the things that are important. You stabilize and then go from there. Tiger Woods was in a horrible accident. We all know that. What's the most important thing first and foremost? Make sure he's alive. Let's stabilize everything. Let's get him in a position where he's not going to lose a leg and he's going to survive. Then we'll worry about the other stuff. Let's stabilize that by making sure that people have the things they need at this moment in time, that businesses can get access to cash that they need at this moment in time to survive. And then if you want to talk about all of the other little trinkets, funds, the pork you have in these things down the road, do that. And if you need to increase this in 6 weeks, that's fine if it's not enough for the people, because that's what it's all about. A lot of this stuff in here, in for the people, for other things. That's why I get mad at politicians and politics on both sides of the aisle, because to me, they scream about the people. They scream about this, yet they only talk to one side of it. And then when they even go and act, more often than not, while their words reflect something in front of the camera, their actions behind the camera, and when nobody sees, is to even a smaller group of people that they have to pay a dowry to. And it pisses a lot of people off, and it should. This is the hot dog we need to see be made, is politics. I would love a real reality television show where you're in all of these things. You're at all of those dinners. How would that be? Like to be a fly on the wall at a big donor meeting? Some of these big lobbying things? Hell yeah. You find out that both sides are playing this game. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Speaking of Tiger Woods, he made a move today.
Cedars-Sinai consistently is ranked as one of the top orthopedic centers in the country.
He's under the care of trauma surgeons right now, and under the best trauma surgeons that we have in Los Angeles.
Dr. Jason Snibbe is an orthopedic surgeon in Los Angeles, and while he's not treating Tiger Woods, he has treated similar injuries.
After typically around 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, he'll start working on the muscles and getting the muscles to fire up again.
This on top of his existing back ailments and 5 surgeries, the most recent in December.
Yeah, so long way to go. And there's all those questions about whether or not he'll come back. But it just shows you how fragile things are, right? Shows you how fragile things and how quick things can change like that, for the bad and the good. I think people need to keep that in mind. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be weird, you know? It's like, is he ever going to make that comeback? Is he ever going to play on a Sunday where he's got the red shirt on, the tiger red shirt? Because you guys know my love of golf. And it's, I do, and I love it. I'm watching it right now. Watch it all the time. Play it when I can. But it's weird. It's weird to think something like that. You're going from one of the most iconic human beings of all time, which you still are, but still a player that's a top 200 player in the world, and on any given day, as we saw a couple years ago, you can go low and win. To, will you ever walk again? I hope they can save my leg. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Wounded Paw Project, amazing organization. Love them. They rescue dogs from facilities where they would be euthanized. They train them to do what? To become service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their families. And that is incredible. Veterans come home struggling with PTSD and injuries, trying to get back and transition to a normal way of life, and they struggle. And often it's something as simple as a pet. And that's how this was started. Now they're getting dogs that are trained and understand. And it's giving a lease of life to both the veterans, first responders, and their families, as well as the animal. Find out how you can help by donating a vehicle. If it flies or floats, if it's an ATV, it doesn't matter what it is. They'll take it. They'll take a canoe. And you watch the work they do. Check it out for yourself. Find out how you can get involved. Great tax-deductible gift. Go to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
I gotta say, Orlando is awesome. What? It's not as nice as Cancun.
Oh, with the funny ha-ha. CPAC this weekend. Sure, we'll talk a little bit about that on Monday, because Trump going to announce 2024 run. Is this what he's going to do? And how does that look? You know, if he says it, and you know, the battle now is there going to be a split? Is there going to be the Patriot Party? Is that going to happen? How does he play it this weekend? Because he's still out there, and by the way, there are still, you know, his tax returns, you know, they are in the hands now of New York District Attorney, and they're looking at all kinds of things, and where does it go from here? But you know, if you're Trump, you're not reaching people the same way, and that's part of what brought you, if not the part. Without Facebook and Twitter, there is no President Trump. How does that go? How do you work around that situation? So it'll be interesting to see how this goes this weekend with CPAC. They're stanky. They're underwear. Wait, what? No, they're not, because these are new kinds of underwear. What do you mean? These are self-cleaning underwear.
Underwear stinks. Traveling with it stinks. Having to pack one pair of underwear for every day you travel and putting it all in the same bag makes everything stink. What if you could travel the world with just one pair of underwear? Now you can with Hercleone. At Hercleone, we believe that traveling the world while staying fresh should be easy to do without baggage. Introducing Cribby, self-cleaning underwear.
Okay, so they're self-cleaning underwear. What's great about them is, first of all, I don't know how big your underwear is you're packing. Secondly, though, all the things I'm allowed to do now that I apparently could never do.
You can travel the world with one pair of underwear. No more stink, no more smells, no more worries. Imagine the places you'll go, the experiences you'll have, and joy of returning home with all of the memories and none of the smell. Hercleone, self-cleaning underwear. Never stop adventuring.
All those things I can do now. All of those things that I couldn't do before, but now with my special non-stanky underwear, these are going to change everything. It's insane. Apparently you wear them, then you just take them out, and it's got like copper and silver and all this other stuff, and you just let them air out for a little bit, and then they're fine. Kills all the bacteria and the stank. I bet someone's going to put him to a test. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet, text. Love hearing from all of you guys. Have a blessed, wonderful weekend. We'll do it again Monday. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.